Folks, it's been a long Sunday and I've given myself a few chances to really engage with this piece, and we're going to keep going. I really want to change something about the color on this piece. I think the overall hues and color choices are good now, but I think as far as lighting, shading, there's more we can do. Now, what I want to do is really, I think, establish the form better. I wanted to focus on shape and contour, but it's hard for me to know like how I want to move forward as far as getting them looking like they are real 3D figures. The drawing is good, just using my line art here, but the color just kind of looks slapped on, kind of flat. So, and sometimes I want that, but sometimes I don't. I want even with flat colors like this, I want them to look, I don't know, more realistic, I suppose. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna do a grayscale, because again, I've been avoiding it, but I think I'm going to do it right now. So it doesn't really matter what color I choose. I'm gonna use this color here that it doesn't really matter. Let's go green or something. And I'm going to use my Opus Color 2 brush. And we're really going to get in there, because I did this earlier with St. Joseph, but I'm going to do it again, just to give me a really solid understanding of like where the lighting is coming from. Now I'm going to just mark here, just straight top lighting. Now what might end up happening is that it stacked on top of the light shading that I already did on the piece, it might like double the contrast of it, but I think that's okay, because I made a new brush since that time, and I want to utilize it. And I'm just gonna get in here and just lightly brush. He's looking down, so there's gonna be some light, there's going to be some shadow under his brow here. I really do like the way this brush operates, the way it feels. It feels right, the type of brush that I like. So I'm also going to brush in that color here that I'm using. Yeah. Okay, so let's just get in here. And I think it's turning out well so far. I think with this, I might end up getting something really painterly. Like I said, I wanted a more graphic style, but I don't know. I just want something that... So here, I can see that the folds in the clothes are kind of hard to understand because of the type of line art that I made. Now, I feel like there should be a core shadow right there, so we'll go ahead and put one in. So cast shadow, there should be a stronger cast shadow here in the cloth. And notice I'm just using these color pencil strokes, just kind of scribbly strokes to get in there. And I might smudge for the blending. Make sure I'm gonna make my smudge the same brush also, Opus Color 2. Make it smaller here. Okay. So again, getting in there and gonna start doing some shading. And again, I don't know how long I've been with this piece. It's been about 5 hours now. I suppose this might be considered like an underpainting. I never took any painting classes. So I don't know the right process for really developing color. I've seen people, kind of not do the grayscale, just kind of just come in with their color, mixing the right colors and then putting in You know, but the thing is, I'm not, that's kind of training more in realism with, you know, with live faces, and I think I need, you know, I need that too. But this is, you know, more comic booky style. Of course, when you're doing abstraction, when you're doing a style like this, you need to have the formal training. I just don't have that time or money to get it right now. Maybe I'll do it if someone pays me to do it, but I don't have that time and money right now. So I'm just gonna come in here and try, you know. I'm gonna have, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna take this and smudge it down to give myself a bit of a gradient. With which I can pull different values like that. Yeah. Okay. So we'll take like a mid-tone right there. Take a mid-tone. Take the darkest value. Get some shadows. I think I want to focus on the 2-value scale first, right? Like, just getting those shadows in there. There is a certain artist that I think of, Nurzan Bekaliev, that I followed a long time ago, who would, you know, make these sort of you know, anime-looking characters, and he would paint them with just grayscale in such a way that it almost looked like a sculpture. There was so much, it was so realistic, and I think about it when I don't really quite remember, you know, what the art looked like, but I just remember the effect it had on me. As far as like how realistic the shading looked. It looked like a white sculpture, a photo of a white sculpture, even though it was just digital painting. I suppose I should try to test myself to achieve that here, if that's what we're going for. Which means I need some knowledge of the midtones. Like using these lighter tones here. I'm going to use my eraser for the white. Should get in the shadows there. So here, there's going to be a little bit of occlusion because the space between his sleeve and his shirt, or I mean the chest, let's go, just move around the piece here. Let's go to Mary. Again, not able to talk much because this is requiring some concentration, and it's just been kind of a long day. I feel like if I get too into any topic here, it might be very difficult to paint. How does Bob Ross do it? Well, Bob Ross is repeating techniques, repeating known techniques that he's just really good at. And for me here, I'm learning as I go, and I'm just documenting my learning process, and I'm just not able to share or teach because I'm trying to teach myself. So that's the struggle here. That shadow's a little bit too much. I need to use larger brushes. I want to think of this like a vine charcoal. Smudge when I can. Yeah, smudge where I can. And erase where I can. I want a quick shortcut to access smudge. If there's a letter for it, S. I don't know. I should look up if there's a keyboard to access smudge, because otherwise I gotta pull my pen up there and tap it, or my finger. In all these steps, I almost get impatient with them. Like, even now, I just want to stop and take a look at the painting. And but I think it's really in the patience that's gonna bring this to life. Like here, let's do the rope. Let's just do it. You know, I'm sure that each piece of effort is going to be satisfying to look at when it's done. Now the next step is going to be, if I can convert this even to a single sail, that'd be great. That would be another step in my evolution as an artist. 'Cause that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to evolve. I suppose I really only have time to do this on Sundays, or just, I don't know, barely have any time at all to do this kind of thing. But today's the day I get to push myself. Definitely gonna get a shadow and cast shadow with a hard edge in here. Same right here. Yeah, we gotta find those hard edges for cast shadow. Here too, like coarse shadow right here. Let's find those edges. It's starting to happen. Not too much overlap shadow, mostly cast shadow at the bottom here. And I feel like it should kind of fade out so I can smudge down. Will it have a hard edge? Knee is still a little bit too low, I think. I was having a hard time with this torso chest area, but I think that was pretty easy just now, since we're just doing grayscale. Now, there's a lot going on in her sleeves here, and I want to find it. Okay. It's slowly happening. Yeah. Okay. Gonna go for a really light one here. Just erase. I want more folds in Mary's dress, but I didn't draw them, so I kind of have to just figure them out from here. Here, I think that's okay. We would definitely get cast shadows here underneath the gowns. here on her feet. Yeah. Right, so it's pretty good, but it's still not on the level of Nurzan Bakaliev, because I need to figure out, like, if the light is coming from straight up, the midtones. So the midtones, like here on Joseph's shirt, pretty much, I guess on vertical surfaces we can add those midtones. So we're gonna go into territory that I've always been pretty bad at, which is, yeah, that finding the midtones and sort of differentiating them from highlights. So in order for me to get a highlight, I would need to take an eraser, and if any part where the light would be directly hitting, because it's like a flat surface facing upwards, there would be lighter value there. But if it's like kind of vertical, the sun is not hitting it fully. I did see an example of that today in real life, where there was a curb and the top surface of the curb is like fully lit by the sun. The sun was beating down like in the middle of noontime. But the side of the curb, the vertical part was basically half lit. It was taking not necessarily direct sunlight, but taking all the ambient light, bouncing everywhere, still from the sun, but bouncing at it. So right now, also keeping in mind the occluded light not reaching like the spaces here between the sleeves and the shirt. And then in little curves like this, there would be a little bit of a shadow, for sure. Would there be a shadow in here, right in here? A little bit. Any curves? So here too, we're gonna take this, we're gonna make a large brush here, just create a bunch of midtones. Here it might even be coarse shadow. Here, yeah, coarse shadow down here. Finding some midtones. Mid-tone. I think this whole area would be kind of shaded. Make my smudger tool larger for this larger area. Take this, brush in those midtones. I really don't know if I'm doing this right, folks. I'm just kind of like guessing. You have me in my vulnerable state right now, YouTube. Not teaching. I'm only experimenting, trying to figure it out as I go. We'll do the same thing on Jesus. Anything that's more vertical will have less light, but there will be highlights, like here in the where the folds turn upwards. So I'm gonna make a highlight like right here. Find that color. Get some more shadows here as a t-shirt as the tunic cinches in. So yeah, all down here would be like a mid-tone, because I don't think there would really be any highlights here as it comes down, just shading. So here is it kind of like, yeah. Folks, I've really never done this before, like this kind of thing that I'm doing right now, like getting a really kind of a more realistic grayscale. Not in my work, not in my anime work. I've never really done this. So it's challenging. So I'm going to take my eraser and find highlights that way. Let's get a little bit of a darker value here. Okay, so here on the underside of the sleeve, I want to think about core shadow. Okay. That looks good. I'm remembering from my school to indicate core shadow with a line where the line clear separation is. So for Mary, we can put here right under her sleeve. Here as well, definitely going to be shaded in this sleeve. Smudge here. So we want to take this mid-tone color again, find it here in the more vertical parts where the sleeves fall, and under here we'll take this shadow color, create a core shadow where it slowly kind of turns away from the light. Would there be a cast shadow in here? I think so. From my training, cast shadow is the darkest part. So there would be a little bit of a cast shadow here underneath the sleeve onto her mantle. But I think the edge of the shadow is too hard. Yeah, too hard. I need to smudge that out. Finding another mid-tone here, lighter tone. Get a stronger shadow right in here in the creases. I'm really curious. I'm gonna try. So this should be a multiply layer. How does that look? Yes, we are adding the depth. It is happening. We're adding the depth. Even in, yeah, the midtones are working. The midtones, I like that. Now what I'm going to do is, because the thing is, if it's just purely a multiply, it tends to desaturate things, which I think is fine. and we can colorize it, maybe paint over it, use an alpha lock, use an airbrush. We'll paint over it later, but in the meantime, we'll stick with this process. But yeah, I think this is starting to look good. Starting. Yeah, I think this process is something I can't skip. I think I really need to do grayscales like this. Like if it's anime, it's just 2 values. You only need 2 values. But if I'm gonna try to paint it a little more, I don't want to skip this part until I can like see the colors for myself. But I have to keep doing this. This is giving me a pretty nice result. I'm gonna take a break here, and we will reconvene again. But I am getting somewhere with this piece, so in ways that I haven't really done before. So yeah, I think we'll save this draft and we'll continue later. So thank you all again for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.